Carlos Santana's music has always been more than just sound. It's a spiritual experience wrapped in 6 strings. The man who made Black Magic Woman and smooth, timeless classics didn't just invent his style out of thin air. His sound is a tapestry woven from the souls of 6 guitarists who each left their mark on his musical spirit. Carlos Santana has often said that the guitar is a voice, and every great guitarist has something different to say. For him, it's never been just about speed or technical mastery. It's about channeling emotion, culture, and spirit through every note. In a 2018 interview with Guitar Player magazine, Santana put it simply, "These players didn't just play notes, they channeled divine energy through their instruments." When you look at the names that shaped him, you see a list that's as diverse as it is powerful. Jazz visionaries who redefined harmony, blues masters who taught the language of pain and joy, innovators who fused genres like alchemists, and bold experimenters who broke every rule to create new ones. These 6 guitarists each gave Santana something vital, whether it was a technical breakthrough, a philosophical insight, or a reminder that music's highest purpose is to move the soul. Some inspired his sustain-heavy, vocal-like phrasing. Others opened his ears to sounds from other continents. A few simply showed him what it means to play from a place of pure truth. So let's step into Santana's personal hall of guitar gods and see who shaped the man, the music, and the magic. Number 6. Wes Montgomery. Santana first stumbled across Wes Montgomery in the mid-1960s, back when he was still carving out his sound in San Francisco's buzzing music scene. He wasn't yet the Carlos Santana the world knows. He was just a hungry young guitarist soaking up every influence he could find. Then someone put on the incredible jazz guitar and later smoking at the half note, and Carlos was hooked. He'd sit for hours, almost motionless, letting Wes's lines pour into him like sunlight through a window. "Listen to how he makes every note count," he'd tell his friends. "There's no waste, no ego, just pure conversation." What struck him wasn't just the technical skill, it was how Wes played. No pick, just his thumb brushing the strings, giving the notes a warmth and roundness that felt human, almost like a voice. And those octaves, 2 strings, same note an octave apart, turned melodies into something richer, fuller, and completely alive. Santana once said, "Wes showed me the guitar could be an orchestra, melody, harmony, rhythm, all happening at once." And that idea stuck. You can hear it every time Carlos lets a note ring out and refuses to rush into the next one. That's pure Wes influence, treating each note as sacred, letting it breathe. Wes also taught him restraint. Not every gap needs to be filled. Sometimes the silence says more than the sound. For Santana, Montgomery wasn't just a jazz guitarist, he was a spiritual guide. He proved that technique and soul aren't rivals, they're partners. As Carlos has put it, Wes didn't just play jazz, he played joy. And joy. That's the whole point. 5. Gabor Szabo. Carlos first encountered Hungarian jazz guitarist Gabor Szabo in the late 1960s, and it was one of those lightning bolt musical moments that stays with you forever. The introduction came courtesy of Clive Davis, who played Carlos the album Dreams during a deep conversation about where Santana's music could go next. The record wasn't just good, it was a revelation. That same night, unable to shake what he'd heard, Carlos picked up the phone at 2 a.m. and called his manager Michael Shreve. "This guy is doing what I've been trying to figure out, making the guitar speak different languages," he said, still buzzing from the experience. Szabo had a style that felt both ancient and modern. He wove Hungarian folk melodies with Indian classical scales, laying them over jazz structures in a way that felt hypnotic and otherworldly. For Santana, it was like hearing proof that music could be a bridge between cultures. "Gabor showed me the guitar could unite worlds," he told Rolling Stone. "You don't have to pick between your roots and the present. You can honor both." When they met in Los Angeles in 1969, Szabo left Carlos with a line that would guide him for decades. "Your guitar already knows how to cry in Spanish. Now teach it to laugh in other languages too." Santana took that to heart, absorbing Szabo's modal scales, his use of repetition, and his trance-like phrasing. You can hear it in Europa and Samba Parti, where the melodies don't just play. They linger, they breathe, they pull you into a meditative state. For Carlos, Sabo wasn't just a guitarist, he was a fearless explorer. He proved that authenticity isn't about staying inside one tradition. It's about embracing all your influences until borders disappear completely. Number 4. B.B. King. In 1967, a young Carlos Santana stood in the crowd at the Fillmore West, watching B.B. King take the stage. He had no idea he was about to witness something that would change his playing forever. The moment B.B. played his first note, I understood the guitar wasn't just an instrument. Carlos would say years later, it was a voice for everything you can't put into words. B.B.'s guitar, Lucille, wasn't simply playing music, it was speaking. In a single solo, she could cry, laugh, preach, and comfort you like an old friend. And that signature vibrato, a quick vocal-like quiver, was unlike anything Santana had ever heard before. But the real lesson wasn't about technique. B.B. believed that a single note, played with real feeling, could carry more weight than 100 played for speed. Carlos took that philosophy straight into the studio. Greg Rowley, Santana's original keyboardist, remembers him stopping mid-take to ask, "Are you playing notes or are you saying something?" That became a guiding principle in Santana's music. Over the decades, their mutual respect only grew. Backstage in 1995, B.B. smiled and told him, "You took what I do and made it speak Spanish. That's beautiful, brother." Carlos treasured that compliment, repeating it often, proud that his hero understood his approach. Santana's long, sustained, crying notes are a direct tribute to B.B.'s emotional power. The space between the notes is where the soul lives, Carlos says. From B.B., he learned that the guitar's greatest gift isn't speed, flash, or precision. It's its ability to make someone feel something so deeply, they never forget it. Number 3. John McLaughlin. Carlos first crossed paths with John McLaughlin in the early 70s, a time when both were diving deep into the space where rock, jazz, and Eastern philosophy collided. By then, McLaughlin's work with Miles Davis and the Mahavishnu Orchestra had already left Carlos awestruck. His playing was fierce yet fluid, intense yet deeply intentional. Proof that you could push the boundaries of music without losing its soul. Their eventual meeting at a spiritual retreat felt almost predestined. Both men were immersed in meditation and the pursuit of higher consciousness, and the bond was instant. When John plays those impossibly fast runs, he's not showing off, Carlos would later say. He's channeling divine energy at light speed. That shared vision crystallized in 1973 when they teamed up for Love, Devotion, Surrender, an album dedicated to their guru, Sri Chinmoy. Recording it wasn't about trading licks or trying to outplay each other. It was about communion. Making that record with John taught me that two guitars can create something bigger than either player alone, Carlos recalled. McLaughlin's influence didn't just sharpen Santana's technical vocabulary, it deepened his belief that virtuosity has to serve something greater than ego. Through McLaughlin, Carlos learned to blend complex rhythms, exotic scales, and spiritual intention into something that was both precise and transcendent. For Santana, John proved that the guitar could be more than an instrument. It could be a path to enlightenment. Number 2. Jimi Hendrix. Carlos Santana first laid eyes and ears on Jimi Hendrix at the Monterey Pop Festival in 1967, a performance that would burn itself into his memory forever. Hendrix wasn't just playing the guitar, he was becoming one with it, coaxing sounds out of the instrument that seemed impossible, then taking it over the edge, quite literally, by setting it on fire. Watching Jimi, I realized I was seeing the future of rock, Carlos later recalled. What struck Santana wasn't only the theatrics, it was the way Hendrix treated feedback, distortion, and effects, as if they were part of the guitar's DNA, not just accessories. Every element of his setup, from the amp to the pedals, was a living extension of his hands. Inspired, Carlos spent months afterward experimenting with his own amp settings, determined to make the whole rig sing together, the way Jimi did. But Hendrix's real gift to Carlos went beyond gear or technique. He showed him that when you're channeling divine energy, there are no rules. If it feels right spiritually, it is right musically, Carlos has said. Shortly before Hendrix's untimely death in 1970, he offered Santana a piece of advice that would become a lifelong mantra. Keep pushing the boundaries, brother. The guitar wants to take us places we haven't imagined yet. For Carlos, those words became a mission statement. Every time he plugs in, he sees it as a way to honor Hendrix's legacy. A fearless blend of innovation, spirituality, and raw, unfiltered power. In Santana's eyes, Jimmy didn't just expand what the guitar could do, he expanded what it could be. Number 1. Peter Green. Peter Green, the original leader of Fleetwood Mac, might seem like an unexpected choice as one of Santana's deepest influences, but for Carlos, his impact was undeniable. It all started with Green's haunting composition, Black Magic Woman, a song Santana would later cover and make world famous. Yet Carlos has never claimed it as his own. "I just put salsa on it," he likes to joke, always quick to give credit to the source. What drew Santana in was Green's phrasing, spacious, unhurried, and dripping with emotion. He didn't try to cram every bar with licks. Instead, he let the guitar breathe, creating space where the listener's imagination could live. "Peter taught me that sometimes the most powerful thing you can play is nothing at all," Carlos has said. That restraint became a quiet but vital part of Santana's own playing. Beyond that one legendary track, Green's blues touch left fingerprints on Santana's ballads and slower pieces. From him, Carlos learned vulnerability, the courage to let the guitar reveal something raw and human even if it felt uncomfortable. Green's notes could be tender one moment and cut to the bone the next, showing that power doesn't always come from speed or volume. For Santana, Peter Green is proof that a single note, placed in exactly the right moment, can change how someone feels, and maybe even stay with them for the rest of their life. These 6 guitarists form a kind of spiritual lineage for Carlos Santana. Wes Montgomery gave him harmony, depth, and the courage to treat every note as sacred. Gabor Szabo opened doors to other cultures and sounds. B.B. King showed him the raw emotional truth of the blues. John McLaughlin pushed his technical and spiritual boundaries. Jimi Hendrix handed him the keys to limitless expression, and Peter Green reminded him that space and silence are as musical as any flurry of notes. Individually, they're masters. Together, they're the DNA of Santana's sound, a sound that's as much about spirit as it is about skill. Carlos has spent over 5 decades blending these influences into something uniquely his own. And every time he steps on stage, he's carrying a piece of each of them with him. So which of these legendary players speaks most to you? Drop your answer below, and maybe pick up your guitar to see what they can teach you too.